Hey everyone, this is Kelly Chambers. I'm a San Diego-based astrologer, and here is one of my burning questions for Lila's wizard, Stephen Forrest. It's actually a question that I've gotten in session, so I want to hear what he has to say. I'm hoping I don't get canceled. Sometimes I get a little self-conscious, like talking about LGBTQ. Like I'm not as, I don't have that much facility with the language. Like I have a, bunch of LGBTQ friends, and I call them my lesbian friends. I don't even know if that's correct, but they seem to be fine with it. And I actually asked them yesterday, I was like, I'm going to ask, Stephen Forrest tomorrow, who's the, lead astrologer here at Lila, if you can see, sexuality in a chart. I know you can see kind of sexual style, strategy, what you kind of show off to the opposite sex, but is there a way that you can see, sexual choice, or specifically any component of LGTB? Oh my gosh, I can't even say it now because I'm so nervous. LGBTQ? Am I saying that right?
LGBTQ plus. You never know.
Okay. So is there, but we'll cut that part. So is there any way, do you ever use the chart, or do you think it's fair to use the chart? Do you think there's any kind of fingerprints of LGBTQ plus in a natal chart? What do you think about that?
I have never seen a reliable way of sorting that out astrologically. I've seen plenty of astrologers say they found the Holy Grail, some kind of genetic marker in the chart for a person being something other than heterosexual. I've tested their methods, and they work sometimes. They don't work all the time. There's one, the word queer, which I still have a little bit of trouble saying, because I've always had close friends with gay folks and all that. And I grew up like 50 years of my life. Don't say queer. That's nasty. You don't want to make fun of somebody and other them, so to speak, with a word like that. But now it's become a legitimate word. And a way of describing someone as unusual or in any way divergent from the mainstream in any way astrologically. Well, there are three ways of doing that. One is a prominent placement of the planet Uranus or Uranus or Uranus. I get such a laugh of the fact that nobody even knows how to say it. However you say it, somebody thinks you're wrong. And once again, if you're sexually divergent from the mainstream, you're a Uranian character. Fair enough. Lots of Uranian people are not LGBTQ. They're unusual in other ways, and that's the important point. I mentioned there were three conditions. One, strong, prominent placement of the planet Uranus, like conjunct the sun or the moon or something like that. The second, the planet Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and the process that underlies Aquarius is one of individuation, separating from what everybody expects you to be. So that too can be divergent from the mainstream in a variety of ways. The third and final condition is a little bit technical. It has to do with declination, a planet being way north of the celestial equator or way south of the celestial equator. It gets kind of astronomical, but it's a condition that arises and also suggests a person who's divergent from the mainstream. Now, if we take the word queer, which I started with, where somebody is just different sexually, they could be heterosexual, but unusual somehow in their style, their tastes, or their values. Anybody who is unusual in their style or their taste or their values in any way is likely to have one of those three astrological signatures. And so there's a slight tendency, shall we say, for being able to distinguish LGBTQ people by the presence of those energies. I think that's true, but I think it's less true with every breath we take, simply because it's becoming a whole lot less queer to be queer, so to speak, as alternative views of sexuality become more mainstream. The weirdness factor decreases. So I think all that I've just said is probably a transitory phenomenon, true of my generation, much less true of the kids being born today. That's my guess.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the same reason I think we've talked about how, Uranus is the planet that rules astrology, but as astrology becomes more mainstream and commonplace and everyone, your mom knows her sun, moon, and rising, like maybe Uranus won't be the planet that is associated with astrology, or Aquarius won't be the sign associated with astrology. It becomes more common. So yeah,
Yeah,
the
you
culture
make a
shift.
good point there, but I'm going to quibble with it a little
Okay,
bit.
please
Everything
quibble.
you said, I agree with. As astrology becomes more accepted, it becomes less Uranian in the sense of less weird. But there's a
Mhm.
way that I think the planet Uranus is permanently the ruler of astrology. And that's because the ultimate logic of astrology is about helping people become themselves. You're not
Mhm.
you're not here to be what your mom and dad wanted you to be or what society
Right.
told you to be. You're here to be yourself. And that individuation process, that ultimate respect for human diversity is really the heart
Right.
of astrology.
Right.
Uranus eternally.
Okay. Quibble accepted.
Quibble, yeah, absolutely. We're still friends.
Yeah, we're still friends.
We know this episode is so good. We wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. If you like what you hear so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this episode with a friend too. Did you know we have a merch line? That's right. You can find hoodies, mugs, phone case covers, hats, and more on our shop page. So if you're enjoying the podcast and want to support us, head on over to our shop page down below and check out all of the cool merch we have for each season. Now, let's get back to the show.
So I've never seen anything reliable in a person's birth chart that will indicate that they are LGBTQ or just straight heterosexual. I've never seen a reliable way of distinguishing that. And my conclusion is that the universe doesn't care that much. That it didn't create any symbolism for that. And so love whoever
Right.
you love as deeply and well as you can. And the universe is less concerned with the plumbing and more concerned with what's in the heart.
Right. Well said. Yeah. I will say, when I spoke to, this probably won't go in, but I spoke to my friend, Kathy. She believes, like a lot of people, just born with their sexuality. She feels like she's like, but there's some people that don't accept it or fight against it, or for the many, myriad of reasons, don't feel completely comfortable coming out of the closet, given history and where they live and parental influences and all of that. And she was saying, gosh, it'd actually be really comforting if there was something that pointed to like just a clear, like, yep, but of course it's not that simple. But she's like, it might give some people some like assurance or a little bit of relief that, and we're all looking for that in a chart of like, oh, that's the reason, or that's why I'm either sensitive or dramatic or a performer or
Yeah.
I don't know, any of our traits that sometimes we're a little like, oh, is that okay? Right.
Yeah.
So to that end, she thought it would actually be, really comforting, as a gay woman, if, there was, but of course there's no, it's never that clear.
It's interesting, what you're saying, there about traits and there are lots of traits that we can in fact discern astrologically. And there are lots of traits that we can't. It's like
Right.
we discern traits astrologically. It's an impossible question. Is somebody verbal and inclined to talk? Absolutely. One look, we can see that. Is somebody nurturing, healing, and disposition? One look, we can see that. Is somebody tall? No, can't see that. Is somebody gay or straight or any of the variations? I
Right.
don't think we can see that either. Is somebody wired to be in relationship? Yeah, we can see that. Is somebody more wired to be single? Yeah, that trait,
Yeah.
we can see that too and honor it. So it's kind of a mixed combination of
Right.
possibilities.
Right. And you can see, I mean, so and are those the ways you can see kind of sexuality, is in sort of how much freedom versus closeness do you want? Like you can see, if someone has a Venus in Aquarius, or Venus in Sagittarius, or even Aries, maybe they need a little more space to be independent than someone with a Venus in Cancer. I mean, all else being equal, of course, with that Venus, it depends the house and the other sort of
Yeah.
aspects of the chart.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of, you can discern those kind of styles or appetites for intimacy to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you completely there. If somebody, here's a naive astrologer. So we ask that person, "What's the planet of love?" And they say Venus. All of
Mhm.
here's a more sophisticated and experienced astrologer. "What's the planet of love?" Show me one that isn't. They're
Right.
all love, and this is just jamming on what you just said. Nothing to do with Venus. What I'm about to say. Let's say I have the planet Uranus is very strongly placed in my chart. Doesn't mean I can't love, doesn't mean I can't be faithful and committed, but I need a lot of freedom. I need a lot of independence. A song when I was a kid that pretty well captures it in the title, "How Can I Miss You If You Won't Go Away?" It's funny, but it's really true. Uranian people really need to miss you, for a while. It's good for them. They love you more if they can miss you. They need space. And so if you got somebody who's like that, that's how the universe made them. And you got somebody who's real possessive and insecure and needs constant reassurance, like the planet Uranus isn't so strong in their chart. Well,
Right.
there's something they have to negotiate. I don't want to say that dooms the relationship, but that'll be a rubbing point. They got to work it out.
Right.
Hey everyone, if you want to learn more about what planets Uranus and Venus are up to in your chart and what influences they are making, please head over to the Lila app where you can learn all about that and a whole lot more. Enjoy!